July 12th, the rundown. Welcome. We have K Marco Sport in the old school, one of the more underrated Barstool shirts, the summer button, lightweight, stools and stars, a brilliant look, chest hair flowing. I love it. Dan wearing some non-licensed Chicago Cub gear.
It's actually licensed.
Yeah, but not licensed by us. Like that's rogue. It's brought to you by MVMT Watches, mvmtwatches.com/rundown. Look at these two guys. Beautiful. They're so minimalistic, I can't even stand it. They're just about the minimalistic life. People look at that watch. I'm looking at these minimalistic watches right now, and I'm saying, you know what? Those cost $1,000 minimum. They're so minimalistic that there's absolutely no way they could be less than $999.99. They're $95, folks. We're disrupting a $6 billion industry with these minimalistic watches. MVMTwatches.com/rundown. The link's below it. You get 15% off your entire order. You can own this minimalistic watch. You can walk around. People are going to be like, that's so fucking damn minimalistic that it's at least $999.99. Nope, $95. That doesn't include 15% off your whole order for Stoolies. MVMTwatches.com/rundown. Home Run Derby slow. We're in the dog days, by the way, fellas. And last night was actually active because we had The Bachelor on and we had the Home Run Derby. That's as good as you can hope for right now. So we'll start Home Run Derby. Chris Berman. There's two events that Chris Berman really, like, he takes center stage and people just hating on him. One is the Home Run Derby and when he does golf. When he does golf, people like literally lose their mind. He kind of skated for a lot of it last night, and then he ended with the down goes Frazier.
The buzzer is sounded in a year that we lost the champ, Muhammad Ali. I have to say it. Down goes Frazier.
And he made it. He used his sad voice. You can say whatever you want about him, but he had his let's take this Home Run Derby and make it really serious and somber and pay tribute to Muhammad Ali. People are still mad. Dan, you blogged it. What do you got?
Well, someone said it perfectly. It's basically Michael Scott with That's What She Said. If there's a Frazier involved, he's going to say down goes Frazier. Just like if the Raiders are involved, it's going to be the Raiders. And that's Chris Berman. He's got it all. This was his last Home Run Derby, by the way, which... Yeah. I was shocked that there wasn't like a float and everyone carrying Chris Berman around while he like high-fived all the fans. So as annoying as he is and as awful as the back all night is, I think we're going to miss him next year. I think we're going to miss him.
Worse, has he always done the Todd Frazier thing? Every time he says something, he goes, Frazier.
Yeah, that's the Howard Cosell. He does Howard Cosell every time he says Frazier.
Every single time, though, he wouldn't say it normally. That was the most annoying.
Yeah.
But if you sit back and appreciate that, actually,
you can't stop.
It makes him...
It's also like... It's nice. The world is a crazy place, okay? We have civil unrest, Brexit, all this fucking shit going on. You can set your watch to Chris Berman saying Frazier, or in late September quoting Rod Stewart and being like, late September, blah, blah. I don't even know what that quote is, but he always does it. Or the clip of him at the catch, or the clip of him going, nice spread to Howie Long, or the Hank Strom, like, what the hell is going on here? Chris Berman is like a safe beacon. You see it out in light. You're like, oh, we're close to home. There's Chris Berman going, whoop, 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 over and over.
What was it? Let's get ready to Trump up. Was that his one this year?
Fantastic.
I couldn't agree more with you, Big Cat, on this. I don't like him, but I appreciate him. There is something about just like your home, it's Thanksgiving, whatever. I mean, it's sad, and this isn't really funny, but like if somebody like one of the cops was named Frazier, like he'd have to say it. Like he'd be like, down goes Frazier. Like he has to say it. Right. That's who he is. He did his damnedest to make that serious. Like he went into somber voice, but it's like he had to say it.
Didn't the Giants draft like Eli Apple? Right? Is that right?
Yeah.
And he immediately was like, Eli the Big Apple. That's Chris Berman. You just know it's coming. You know what he's going to say before he says it, but you still need him to say it. You know what he is? He's our totems from Inception. When fucking Chris Berman starts doing his nicknames, you're like, yup, we're here. We're in America.
Yeah, no. So I'm Team Berman on that. I had no problem with that. Who was the what was the chick's name in that drunk video when he wanted to drink the wine? The ESPN video that was leaked.
It was like Rebecca or something.
What was her
hitting on her? It was like she's like a page or something. Yeah.
Rebecca. Look at Rebecca. Oh, it's our last one.
I know. I just found out.
The wine was good. And did you think of me when you drank it?
Yeah.
Like, did you like squirm a little bit?
No.
Come on.
I was in a Japanese restaurant. You can only squirm so much. It went well with sushi.
Yeah.
Oh, we gotta play that. That's just vintage. That's Chris Berman. That's the uncle. That's what you need. We go back and forth. We'll stick with the softball. We'll move to the softball game now. Not my smoothest transition. Lots of things in the softball game. First of all, I didn't have this other thing. I don't know who the announcer was. That was the worst announcer.
Yeah, he does that now every time. Adnan Verk, it's awful.
He's the single worst announcer of anything. And I'm talking sports, news, like politics. That guy's the worst I've ever heard. I stopped. I usually love celebrity, like softball games, rock and jock softball, all that shit. I can watch that all day long. I could not watch this because that guy. Just bring back the original rock and jock guys from MTV and have them do everything like this. That was so unlistenable. It was bananas that he could get approved for that. Nina Agdal, white pants. She lit the internet on fire. I don't know what you can say. She's Nina Agdal. I mean, I don't think anybody would ever debate her place in the pantheon of hottest girls of all time. So they put her at catcher, suave move where she's just bending over all day long. She did that run to first base. Anything on Nina Ogdal, KFC? I mean, K. Marco?
No, I mean, she's hot. And she knew what she was doing with the white pants. The missing first base, I just watched that clip. It's fucking hilarious. You know, she has no idea what she's doing. They put her out there to look fucking hot. I think we're going to get to this, but Darren Ravel, I thought, stole the show. So, I was more interested in that than Nina Ogdal, as gay as that sounds. He was just fucking electric as the bat boy.
Big Cat, we'll go right into Ravel. If we want to talk about Ravel, you just jump subject. That's fine. What do you got?
Quickly, Nina, she missed first base. Then she comes and explains it. And by the end, I was like, yeah. She was like, why do you have to touch the base? That makes no sense. And by the end, I was like, yeah, you're right. Like, that's a rule that should be like, you shouldn't have to touch a base. So that's just the hottest chick just telling you what the rules are. And you're like, yep, those are the rules now. Ravel, fucking softball games. Like, half these people can't even play softball, and Ravel still is the bat boy. Like, that's the crazy part. Terry Crews, I'm pretty sure Terry Crews doesn't realize he's not a lefty. He's swinging. He's hacking. The fat kid from Modern Family is hacking away. Landon Donovan's being a hardo, obviously. That was like the easiest money in the world to bet on him. And Ravel still can't get in this game.
He was so proud of it, too. Just like that big smile on his face with his flat brim hat over the tips of his ears. Like, it was way too big.
That's a Portnoy move. Don't you wear your hat like that, Dave?
Well, it's right here. This is how I wear my hat.
No, backwards.
Oh, backwards? No, if I do backwards, I don't go.
He's smiling, and it's like
this would be. It depends what hat. This would be how my major league hat would go on backwards. Yeah, Ravel was electric. By the way, Terry Crews, he's another one on here. People are saying, like, oh, how embarrassing and blah, blah, blah. First, whatever, he's on roids, he's bouncing it. I thought the interview made me like the guy after. He's like, I took my shirt off. I thought I was going to get in their head. I got in my head. Like, I got to put my shirt back on now. Like, I had no problem with Terry Crews. People are like, oh, what a hardo. Dude, it's a celebrity game. It was funny. It's funnier. It's not like everyone's like, how can you strike out? Let me tell you this about playing softball. Terry Crews knew he couldn't hit a softball when he stepped in the batter's box. Like, you don't find out you can't hit a softball.
That's why you don't do the shirt thing.
But I think he was like playing in the crowd. It made it funnier. It's not so funny if you hit a 700-foot home run. It's funny when you take your shirt off. You're abnormally. This is for all the ladies out there. His body's gross. It's like too jacked. It's like he looked like he had like boobies.
Girls prefer the dad bod. That's an actual study.
That is an actual study. I mean, that was too much. So I had no problem. You think he thought he was going to like hit a home run, Dan?
No, I think he he knew he couldn't hit, and he shouldn't have played it up like he did because it just drew so much attention to how bad he was swinging. He should have gone up there, swung the bat, then maybe take your shirt off in the field or take your shirt off. The build up to then he knew in the back of his head he couldn't hit a softball. You're right about that, but the build up you have and then not being able to hit a softball, that's a bad look.
See, I think that was I think he knew that. I think he was being like funny. I thought it was self-deprecating. I think he knew what was going to happen, and I thought
I don't think he thought he was going to strike out on 3 swings.
I think he knew something good was not going to happen. I came out of there. I'll tell you who was really upset is Andre Dawson when he popped up to the pitcher.
Yeah, he was.
Like Andre Dawson, by the way. I think someone will eventually die in one of these like softball games. Andre Dawson. I don't care if Andre Dawson is 85 years old. He hits the ball harder than anybody I've ever seen consistently. Like if he actually didn't he swung so fucking hard. If he didn't pop that up, that's a line drive in like the third baseman's face. Side note, Jamie Foxx, kind of annoying, and this is as much as I watched to the point because the announcer made me shut off. He didn't know who anybody was. He literally, every single person got up. He's like, "Who is this? Who is this? Who is this?"
He's
like,
the A-lister.
He was the A-lister. He was.
Yeah, they did not have A-listers this year. It was Jamie Foxx.
Yeah, where was Kevin Hart? He wasn't in it, right?
Basically it.
You can't do it without Kevin Hart.
I'm trying to think who else they had in that game.
They didn't have any other A-listers.
Well, Nina Agdal is an A-lister.
Nina Agdal and Drew Brees.
Yeah, Drew Brees is A-lister for sure.
Yeah.
Sticking again. Let's do a commercial break. And by the way, this message is for Hank and Millmore. I don't know if you're doing it. You guys got to put in the cue points for the ads. You know that, right?
Yep.
Okay, great. Commercial break. We're back, folks. What do we think of the kid robbing home runs?
Do it.
The kid?
I love it. I wish they would let adults be back there and have that be part of the home run derby. You can rob a home run or put, you know what? Here's an even better idea. Put the guy's teammates. So like put a bunch of Marlins out there when Frazier's hitting and just be like, start robbing home runs. Help your teammate out. So I have no problem with it. And then the girl getting trucked. That was a vicious hit. You got to keep your head on a swivel because you know there's a million little kids just running everywhere.
Another point, and Major League Baseball will go back and look like, oh, why do we even think of that? As this is constituted, that's just somebody getting like killed in the outfield on like a line drive P, a little girl. Like there's 3,000 little kids walking around and people are hitting missiles into the outfield. Like I can't wait for it to happen. I want blood. Okay, Marco?
Yeah, I love the kid in the outfield. I guess you could ask why he was out there. I mean, he was like 30 years old and 6'4" or something. But if you're going to be out there, I would do the same thing. I mean, you're going to try and rob. What do you want him just walking around like with his head down, like moping? You got to make some plays. That's just competitive spirit.
Yep, agreed. Moving away from the home run derby. So Joe Pa, new studies that he basically knew. Somebody who was directly molested told him that. There's also Greg Schiano's getting caught up in the mix. But if I'm understanding the Greg Schiano, and this has always been my point, Greg Schiano like told people, he's like, I saw it. For me, it's always been with Penn State, like it's Joe Pa was the top. He's the one who has to go. If you're like an assistant, you tell Joe Pa. I can kind of see someone being like, I did my duty a little bit.
I don't know, man. If you see a kid getting raped, I feel like you should probably not stop until the guy's in jail.
No, I agree with that, but I also would say it's more like, I don't know. You're the assistant coach, the culture of football. I get it. I understand what you're saying, Dan. But it's like if you bring it to the top, you got to expect.
But
the top guy.
that's actually the same excuse Joe Pa uses because Joe Pa said that he told the AD. He's like, I told my boss.
Yeah.
See how it works?
I guess it's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it's fair. But Joe Pa's bigger than the AD.
Of course he is, but they all just kind of be like, oh, yeah, we kicked it up. Don't know what happened.
Okay, Marco?
Yeah, listen, you can't fault Joe Pa for how he responded to it. I mean, he did the only respectable thing and just died. So that was, I mean, you can fault him for the 6 years before that, but when it came down to it, it was just time to die, and that's what he did. So at least he went out like that.
Listen, he's an absolute criminal. The people in Penn State who still defend him. Penn State people, this is what Penn State people do, which I don't understand Penn State people. They're like, you can't let the actions of one person affect like all thousands of people. Nobody thinks like Penn State fans or Penn State like people knew what was going on, or they're scumbags. Where they cross the lines, like you keep defending this guy. That's where like you guys are fucking idiot. No one's like, oh my God, Penn State should never play football. So you had the action of a couple absolute fucking deviants. But the fact you don't see that is where the Penn State people get in trouble.
Well, go ahead. We can say Keith.
No, it's just the reason that they love him so much is because he's the god there, and he ran everything, and he had control of everything. But when it comes down to this thing, all of a sudden, it's just one guy. He couldn't do anything. He kicked it upstairs. Like, you have to pick one or the other.
They also, I also do think that most Penn State fans now know how bad this is and how bad, like how complicit Joe Pa was in it. I think it's probably a very small minority, older Penn State fans trying to like recapture the glory days. I'd imagine most Penn State students or recent grads are like, yeah, this guy was a fucking creep and he should have done something.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true. Maybe.
Really? Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah.
I don't know.
I feel like most of the Joe Pa camp now is like 50 plus, and probably like, old school Penn State who remember the national championships and shit.
I don't know that that's correct. I don't have enough info. I don't think that's the case if you went, but maybe it is. I will say, kids getting raped in the showers, kids getting diddled, all the bad stuff that happens, you can't take away from that clip when he had to take a poop in the middle of the game. I looked at that today. That is, like, honestly, when's the last time you guys have watched the Joe Pa has to poop in the tie game? It is, get that clip on there. He literally is streaking through the end zone in like a middle of the punt. And the announcers are like, is that Joe Pa in the end zone? What's he doing? He's just sprinting to go take a dump. It's,
pocket, which was a great call. Now you had some time. You see what? Just complete the pass.
So now punting from his own end zone will be Kapanos again. And again, this is a battle of field position. Is that Joe running all the way across the field? Is Joe Paterno in the end zone?
Is he going to the bathroom?
Joe Paterno is leaving the field. He has come all the way across his offensive line and huddle, and he is heading to the locker room. And we have no reason to know why. And Joe's maybe the only guy that knows.
He also got blown up that one time. He like broke his knee. I think I was at that game. I think I was at Wisconsin. But yeah, you basically just had your grandfather on the sideline for the last 10 years. And shit like that happens.
Yeah, take away all his wins. Take away the statue. Do not take away that poop clip from me, because that's like absolutely one of the all-time Hall of Famers. Uber Freakout. Uber driver wants his lady out of the cab, out of the car, and is just going ballistic for about 3 minutes, screaming at her.
At where I
Pulled into your destination. It said here I was at your destination. It's over. Get out of my car now.
It said 1760.
Get out of my car now.
Sir, it said...
Get out of my car now!
Why are you yelling at me?
Because you won't fucking get out of my car!
But you're not to yell at me. Where is my destination?
Get out of my car!
Sir, can you just tell me...
Get out of my goddamn car! Now!
Confusing video to me. In the end, it sounds like he took her where they had to go. Like he's at the hospital. They say at the end, so get out of it. I guess you want to go to the front, not the back. I don't know how this woman's so calm. I mean, this woman is just like, this guy, his gaskets were exploding. K. Marco, what do you got on this?
Oh, she's the fucking worst. She was calm because she was using her I'm recording voice. Like, she thought she was going to be this big hero on the internet, catch this Uber driver freaking out. And she does that thing where people are recording and they just say sir at the end of everything, as if they can just, that means that everything's okay. Like, as long as you say sir, you can keep going. I mean, you put the address in, he took you to the address, and she wouldn't get out because she's trying to get this sweet video. So I'm on the guy's side.
Big Cat?
Without a doubt on the guy's side. It's basically when you were a kid and you'd like fuck with your friends or your brother or something and say like, I'm not touching you, and put your hand in front of their face. That's what she's doing to this guy. She's like, I'm not doing anything wrong, but everything she's doing is wrong and everything she's doing is annoying. So I started like screaming along with the guy. Get out of the fucking car. Like, I was getting upset. So fuck this chick. I'd love to see what she did before the camera started rolling too.
I'd also like to say this guy is a prototypical yeller. Like, he looked like a guy who could yell. He had a yell voice.
He's a dad. He's a dad with I think he has like anywhere between 3 to 5 teenage daughters. They always like walking on him taking a shit. He just doesn't have any peace of mind or like space to himself. So when you get him yelling, all he can do is yell until like he needs like a half hour to cool down off that.
Right. Like, but in 40 minutes, he may have forgot this incident happened.
100%.
And there's another yelling incident like this, maybe
horizon.
2 hours away.
Yeah.
Like,
his life is measured between yells.
Yeah, pretty much. Last one, Isiah Crowe, running back of the Browns. He tweeted out like a cartoon of a cop getting their throats slashed. The good news is he has apologized. He realized maybe you don't want to do that. So, Big Cat, what do you got on this guy?
It's the crazy part about this. Keith mentioned this the other day when when our boys from the Cauldron had like a cop killing sympathizer. The fact that you can't like hold on to your take for more than 10 minutes, that you can't stand. Like, if this is how you think, Isiah Crowe, fucking stand by it. Leave that shit up and say this is why you think. I think it's a fucking ridiculous thing to think, but at least have the balls to stand by it, not just delete it right away and be like, whoops, sorry.
Dude, it was the most graphic picture. Like, normally people post like quotes or like block letters, like saying what they think. This is the jugular was slashed and there was blood squirting all over the screen. It was like so graphic, as if no one was going to notice it. He took it down like 2 hours later. It was an aggressive take that he didn't want to stand behind.
I've thrown this out there before, and we're getting to that point where I think we got to put an island. We got to cut like a place that doesn't matter, whether it be like Wyoming, North Dakota, South Dakota. Lawlessness, no cops. Just anybody wants to go there. No police, no law, no order. You can do whatever you want. It can be the wild, wild west. No more complaining about cops. No, I'm not saying all cops are great, but clearly, if you hate cops that much, you can go create the XFL, Crowell. Go play in the XFL out in South Dakota. See what happens. I would cut him. Is he cut yet? By the way, if you can't have this guy on my team. I won't let this guy play for me. You can't have that.
But Johnny Football can stay as long as he wants.
Johnny Football is not fucking cutting people's throats, cops' throats.
I mean, he didn't actually cut someone's throat.
We don't know what happened at domestic dispute. Maybe it was a crime of passion. We have no idea. That's the rundown. Anything on the post? How's your Pokemon Go going, Dan? How many you got?
Done. I was dead on about the conspiracy theory. I was so fucking dead on. CIA is just watching you right now, Dave. They took your email. They have access to all of your emails, all your fucking phone numbers, everything. They own you now. I deleted that shit. So I deleted that shit. I threw my fucking phone down a well. Fuck that shit.
The CIA has been watching me for like 7 to 8 years.
Well, guess what? Now they can read all of your emails.
That's fine. I already knew they were hacking me. I don't give a fuck. I know that. They want to see when you have thought leaders, that's what I want. I'm pro tapping. I'm pro let's stop terrorists. If you have a brain like mine, roaming the streets,
when they frame you for a
what
murder?
Is this guy thinking? That's what I'd want to know if I was CIA, to protect you and you.
So when they steal your identity and frame you for a murder, you're going to be like, oh, it's just me, little poor Davey. I was just trying to catch some Pokemons. Get out of here,
I don't think they're going to frame me for murder.
Yeah, that's what they all say.
Well,
every person who's been framed with murder has said, I don't think they're going to frame me for murder at some point.
I'm way too. Listen, they're not getting me for murder. I promise you that.
Woke.
I will say,
stay woke.
I've caught 3, and I got denied some huge gym apparatus that I tried to get into today. It's like you have to be a level 5 to train in the gym. I didn't understand what that was about. Are you playing, K. Marco?
No, I'm not. Have you walked around Central Park at all with these guys?
No, I don't even know where Central Park is. That's the problem.
If I could get that is there, a problem. That's a problem.
No, you'll find it eventually, but that's where the hardcore, like, those are the people you want to be with. They were interviewing on the news. They were like, this is the coolest thing that's ever happened. I'm just making so many new friends. It's really the best thing that's ever happened to this nerd Pokemon community.
If it's still hot, maybe Wednesday, tomorrow, maybe I'll go down there. I thought maybe Dan's going to be here for a little bit. We should have we don't have enough cameras, but it's almost like What is that supermarket sweep? And you just have to run through the supermarket and get, like, we should have like an hour Pokemon sweep where it's just like whoever can get the most Pokemon. But we'll see. All right,
it's the worst.
The only thing I'll say
it's the worst for a different reason than like Kevin is mad because he hates nerds and Asians. I'm mad because they're fucking tricking everyone, and no one out there is like seeing the truth behind it.
I almost got run over by like 13 bikes today. Dan, word to the wise, that's the biggest adjustment in New York is like the bike path lanes. Is you think you look for cars, like, oh, no cars, and then you take a step and you just have bikes zooming past you to ready to fucking mow you down. That by far is the biggest transition that I haven't gotten used to. They have their own lights and shit.
And now you're adding Pokemon Go to your plate?
So I'm like looking at Pokemon Go because you gotta be like, where's the Pokemon? Where's the Pokemon? And then fucking bikes don't give a fuck. And the bikes are like living in a bizarre world. Like if you get run over by a car, the car person doesn't get hurt. Bikes act like they can just run you over like a car. Like there's gonna be carnage everywhere. These bike fuckers don't give a fuck. They're the real deal.
All Keith, right. Is this true?
Yeah, he's right.
Okay. It is.
I'll be ready.